with us. My name is Stella Kosiboji. I work with Nigerian Women in Public Relations as the Programs and Membership Executive. Esther, thank you so much for joining us. The PR Woman of the Month is to spotlight women practicing public relations in Nigeria, because one of our key objectives is to showcase and platform the work of women, that's Nigerian women that are practicing public relations, because we see that a lot of women do not talk about themselves and the great work that they do. So we use this as a medium to know more about them, the strategies they've implemented, and the excellent work they're doing in general. So others that want to get into the profession, maybe I want to go into public relations as an undergraduate or as a woman, I see this interview, I'm motivated, I have directions, and yes, so that is why we featured the PR Woman of the Month. So yeah, thank you. I just wanted to give a brief overview. Esther is a media and communications professional, passionate about fostering impactful connections and driving societal transformation. She holds a BSc in Mass Communication from Babcock University and a Diploma from the London School of Media and Television, combining academic excellence and hands-on expertise in media relations, stakeholder engagement, corporate communications, and ethical branding. Her journey spans roles in mainstream media and non-profit organizations, where she developed a strong foundation in crafting messages that resonate and building relationships that drives impact. As the lead for public relations and corporate social responsibility at SystemSpecs, one of Nigeria's leading technology companies, Esther spearheads initiatives that enhance brand trust, align corporate goals with societal impact, and inspire meaningful change. Our work emphasizes strategic media engagement and authentic storytelling to amplify organizational narratives. Beyond our professional achievements, Esther's life is anchored in her unwavering love for God, expressed through End Truths, a platform dedicating to inspiring faith, nurturing a love relationship with the Father, and empowering people to live intentionally for God's kingdom. Through End Truths, she shares timeless truths that encourage purposeful living, deepen spiritual growth, and foster a community of kingdom-driven individuals. She's also passionate about peace, women-led education, leadership, and community development. Esther's approach integrates faith, ethics, and innovation to empower individuals and organizations to reach their highest potential while creating lasting impact. That was a very strong one. Thank you so much for joining us. I just wanted to appreciate you once again. So we just get right to it. We want to know how you got into the public relations industry. Did you just know from a very young age, or how did you get in? We are very eager to know.
Interesting. I think it came by chance because I studied mass communication, broadcasting specifically. My plan was to be a CNN, presenter at some point in my life, or BBC, because I have my father works. He's a quite renowned professional in the media space in Nigeria, and journalism in Nigeria. So I grew up watching CNN a lot, and these international broadcast stations. So I always imagined that one day I would be on screen. And so my first when I got into the university, I studied mass communication. And my third level, I had to make a choice between journalism and broadcast journalism or public relations. And I didn't go for public relations. I just went ahead for broadcasting. And that's where I started, post-secondary university. I worked in a TV radio station during my NYC. And then when I got back to Lagos, I worked for TVC briefly, and then Radio Continental. And then somehow an opportunity came, and I switched into the nonprofit sector for a couple of years, but still comms, right? So I was still developing my skills in communications. And that's how I continued. PR didn't happen until just about maybe about 5 years ago, when I realized that this is something to explore. It's something I've been doing, one way or the other in my career, but not that I was being recognized or I was doing it in a public relations way. The way it's become a trend now, where you have a lot more people focus more specifically on public relations and identifying themselves as professionals in that space. Because at the end of the day, communications is, if you're representing a brand, if you're speaking about its impact, if you're speaking about the work that we do, you're doing PR one way or the other. So I began to take myself or separate the two of them when I worked for an agency. So I worked for about two agencies, and then we had to work with clients. So we had people who come, entertainers, big personalities, people who had projects and they needed PR, work effort to create visibility around the projects that they were doing or around their personal brands and things like that. So I think that's where the divide, or where I began to see myself in that light, as opposed to just being an overall communications strategist or a communications expert, if you get what I mean. So I think that's where the difference came about. And then, of course, roles open, and you sort of have to be conversant with the times. Things are changing. Professionals' titles or roles are changing, maybe based on what is required or what the industry needs to position the world or individuals more accurately. So when these roles begin to change, you also have to adjust yourself. You also have to learn what it means, to fit in that role or into that category. So I think PR, public relations, just sort of came on board naturally. And then I got a role in that space as well, beyond just managing portfolios, managing clients, specific projects. Then, of course, this role came in where I currently sit, and yeah, we say the rest is history. Yeah.
That's a great one. I would say that public relations chose you because no matter the path it decided to take, it just pointed you towards itself. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. And it
and like
actually came as an opportunity, funny enough, because I think at the time, for those who may be looking for jobs, at the time, there was a lot of remote working, I think about 2-3 years ago, when people were beginning to see the opportunities. I think after COVID, right? And at that time, an agency was looking for people to work with, and I was open. I said, oh, I know this. I went through the JD and I knew that I had experience in all the things that they had listed for me to do, and it just looked really perfect, to go ahead with the work. And that was what happened, right? And then you get into it and then you see there's even more behind just the regular things that you've been doing before, because you're working with an expert, you're working with a CEO, you're working with seasoned people who understand the industry, the public relations industry, and then they're able to teach you and then you're able to learn and grow in the process, because you're working across different industries and sectors, you're managing different clients and whatnot. So I would say that when an opportunity comes, take it. As long as if you go through a certain JDs or go through certain roles and you have experience one way or the other, don't let the role frighten you. Don't let the thing or whatever is frightening you. As long as you think you have competence one way or the other, see what happens, and then anything can happen. You can be that one person or one company that you need to be, that would then open the door for greater things for you to explore. Yeah.
yes, I say this is a very big takeout point. So sometimes we see the JD and we're like, am I sure I can do this? Yeah, but I would say that thank you so much for sharing this. If you see a job description and you know that I can do some, maybe not, you didn't check out the list, maybe some, you can always give it a try and just put in your best, and you never can know. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Would you walk us through some of the successful campaigns or projects you've worked on as your different designation in the agency and as the lead PR public relations manager with SystemSpecs? Now, can you tell us some of your successful campaign and what stood out for you?
Well, I won't call them campaigns, and I tend to be quiet about some of the brands. I know you asked that in the email you sent. I tend to be quiet about some of the brands so that I'm not. But I think what I would say to that is that positioning is important. When you begin to work for a company, or for an individual, you have to be passionate about what they do. Right, you have to be passionate about who they are. You have to know everything about what they do, and why they exist in the first place. So for you to run successful campaigns, it starts from really understanding what the brand is. And I think that cuts across everything, that in terms of running campaigns, it cuts across. It's like the underlining message. You should always remind yourself, who is this person? Why are they in business? Why do they want this message to go out? And so that makes you focus really strongly on how much you pursue and how much you focus on creating the right visibility for them. Because at the end of the day, that's what makes a successful project, or makes working with you beneficial for them. So I think that would be my response to that question. It's not really about what you have done, or how many I don't know if you get what I mean. Is you understanding that every time you have a project, or every time you have someone to work with, or if you're working for a company as I'm working now, as opposed to just being in an agency, you have to know your product. You have to know the person. You have to know whatever it is. You have to do a lot of research, so that then you can then be able to come up with interesting ideas or interesting campaign that will then drive the amplification of that subject.
Okay, thank you. So you mentioned that you work with some brands that you can mention, but we're expecting some few brands. We've interviewed people that say I worked on the Coca-Cola brand. When they did share your code campaign, I worked on. So you don't want to share any of that with us?
No, not at the moment. No, I'll leave it quiet. I'll leave it quiet. Maybe sometime later in future, I would want to. But I've had the pleasure of working with entertainers, really successful people in the entertainment business. I've had the pleasure of working on quite a number of NGO brands, and also some banks as well. I've had the pleasure of doing some partnership or work or PR work for some brands that were pleased and grateful that we came on board when we did. So those are some interesting people of sectors that I can remember off the top of my mind, off the top of my head. So I hope that works. I hope that works for you. But I think at the end of the day, like I said, it's not really just the project. It's good for your personal reflection. It's good for you to be able to document things and say, oh, I was able to do this, and then that sort of encourages you to continue, because you've done something before, or pushes you forward to say, I was able to accomplish this with your team members, or whatever resource that you had in at the time, to get stuff done. And I think that's very important. I also think in terms of positioning, writing and pushing out content is very important. I think a lot of people focus on the events. A lot of people focus on the social media posts or the pictures and whatnot. You also have to think about the storytelling in terms of content online, your media relations, how you're able to set an agenda online where, beyond just sharing the platforms or sharing to specific platforms, your story is so strong that other people pick it up and want to talk about it. Do you get what I mean? They want to share this interesting thing that you've done, or have an interview with the personality that you have pushing the story that you're working on. So I think that's just very important for your question. To notes for your question. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. We just want to know how you collaborate with other teams or departments within your organization to align PR strategies with the broader business goals? We know that it's starting of the year, there's a budget. So how do you work with other teams to see, yeah, this is my budget and this is where we have to invest, and other things that concern PR to achieve the business goals generally?
Hmm. Okay, so interesting because we have quite a number of us that work. So in terms of collaboration, I think it's just having, first of all, having a strategic overview of what the company is trying to achieve for the year, and maybe for every project that you take on. So once you have a strategic overview of what you need to do, you can then cut down to the details. So that's where the budget comes in. You know what each person is responsible for, and then everybody follows through it. So it's having those one-on-one conversations. So you have a one-on-one conversations with your executives, so that they set the agenda to say, okay, these are the things that top level things that we need to achieve for this project, for this year, or for this quarter, right? So once that's done, you then have to work together collaboratively, constantly sharing information and constantly sharing updates, because once those meetings are done, there's a tendency for people to forget, right? So you have a system in place where people are reminded, people are prompted, to say, okay, these are the things that we need to focus on this week, or these are the things we need to focus on the next 2 weeks to achieve this objective. And everybody is just really clear about the timelines. Everybody's clear about what their expectations are. And, working together is being able to ask for help. Right. So if you're stuck, you should say, oh, I'm stuck here. I need help. Or I was able to do research. I got to a point I can't continue. Do you need, can you come in? Is there something you can help me with? Or you're trying to reach a contact and the person is just not reachable. You may want to reach out to any member of your team, not minding who it is that may be able to help you, but then you ask out, you reach out and then say, ask for help, really. I think that it's just very important, because if you work in silos, if you work all by yourself, just thinking that it's your to do and nobody else should be concerned, you might find out at the end of the day, nothing is done. And you're coming back to report, oh, I was not able to achieve this, or because of XYZ, as opposed to if you were able to, how do I say, sometimes the word will say escalate, right? If you are not able to do that, then there's a problem. So working with people is very important. Not believing that you can do everything all by yourself. So you have a strategy. Everybody is, on board. There's the follow-up conversations. There's the personal responsibility on every member of the team to ask for help when help is needed. Don't keep information to yourself. Know what everybody is at every point in the project. I think that's very important, so that at the end of the day, when the project should conclude, there are results to report on.
All right, it is very important that we escalate working in silos, because we know that teamwork makes the dream work. So if
Absolutely.
you need, it is important to involve every team members internally or externally.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you. So what is the most challenging part of working in the PR and communications industry, especially as a female practitioner?
What has been the most challenging thing? I won't say that I have any at the top of I don't think I have anything that is overly challenging at the moment. I think because of the way I see work and I see life, I'm beginning to learn that every new task or every new assignment is an opportunity to grow. So I may find it hard at first, but I'm able to just, think about it and say, oh, is there something I'm supposed to learn from this? And then that mindset shift always helps me. So I won't say that I've had anything that is on constant repeat that is a challenge to me as a PR professional, because I'm able to excel or I'm able to perform wherever I found myself in the last couple of years. I think, like you said, we spoke to working together as a team. I think I've been blessed to work with some of the best companies in the last couple of years. So working together hasn't been a challenge. If I know people speak about, the fact that women are not seen or they're not visible enough, I don't think that has been a challenge for me. I think that everyone has a time when recognition will come after you must have done the work. Once you've done the work and you've done it consistently over time, the right recognition will come. So I feel like I'm able to just handle whatever. Sometimes people say it was a lot of work managing clients, or it's a lot of work managing a group of companies, or it's a lot of work, and I think it's again back to who are people you're working with. What support system do you have at home, or do you have within your network that you can take that some of the burdens off you, so that you can perform optimally. So I feel like you just have to sort of have a plan around every challenge. How do I overcome this challenge? What do I need to do to make things work for me, or to make sure that I'm not slacking, or I'm not. It doesn't look like I don't know what I'm doing as a professional. It doesn't favor you in any way. I just think that you have to find a way around it. I'm a mother of two. I know lots of people see me and think, how is it that you're so small and so young, and you have two kids, but I started work immediately, like a month after I gave birth. And that's because I knew I needed to go back to work. I just could not handle not being in the house. I couldn't handle just being in the house, and I needed work. I needed to get something doing. And thankfully, I have a good husband who was able to handle a couple of things for me. I have family friends and my family members that were able to handle a couple of things. And then it was just still a bit neither here nor there, handling the home front, managing my kids, and all of that. And then the work was there. And of course, you're working virtually sometimes. You have to go to the office other times. You're not working fully remotely, so where you think you can spend time with family. But it's me then saying to myself, what do I need to do? And sometimes you have to be honest with the people that you're working with, whether you need to ask for help, or you need to say, oh, these are the issues I'm having, what can we do together? Is there a plan we can work together to make, is there a schedule we can work together to make things easy? So I feel like for every challenge, you just have to ask yourself, what do you need to do to get over this challenge, to make it work for you? And I think once you have that mindset, once you have that outlook for life, things just easily just pale into anything that just looks impossible, just peels off into existence. So I just think that's just very important.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. I must say you're very resilient. Like starting work just a month after, I think that's a lot that you had to face at the same time. But yeah, you're doing great. I know, how do you stay updated with the latest industry trends and best practices in public relations? You earlier mentioned that the public relations space is ever changing, and we must always adapt to this change. So how do you stay updated?
So I tend to subscribe to a lot of newsletters. In fact, my email box is full, and Google has been warning me to reduce and to take, to either upgrade to a paid option. So essentially, I subscribe to a lot of newsletters. I love reading newsletters. So if you're a peer company or you're a peer, whatever it is, I'm one of those people that will quickly follow. And because I use LinkedIn a lot, if I see something that just looks interesting, I will quickly follow your page. I will quickly follow your platform, just so that I'm in touch with what's going on with, around the world, not just in Nigeria, in Africa, around the world, internationally. I also like part of webinars, because I think when I have free time, I join a lot of webinars where I'm able to just listen and learn and take notes. So newsletters are a big thing for me. I could be, if I'm not doing anything, I just go through my phone and I'm reading a lot of what's happening around the world, about anything, not just PR, but about anything. And so I tend to subscribe to those things. And then webinars are a favorite thing of mine. I also like to do podcasts. I listen a lot to things that, just maybe while away time, but in the process you learn one or two things. So I really enjoy conversations, so where people are talking about their history or their background, or the way they, things that they did to be successful and things like that. So it's not just PR, but I think it cuts across. So in terms of learning and developing myself, those are the key things that I try to do from time to time. And I intentionally expose myself to places or to people where I know that one way or the other I will get something. I will get one trend or one report or one strategy or one new way of doing things. And I also pay attention to campaigns. I pay attention to a lot of international campaigns. I really like the way they think, and the way they put content together. So I tend to share those sort of campaigns with my team to say, oh, look at this and see how exciting. Look at the messaging, it's just really good. So I tend to pay a lot of attention to campaigns anytime I see it. And I always just get excited and imagine that I could do the same as well. And that just sort of helps, in communicating or working with the team to see what's doable as it concerns us, because it's not every campaign that would work for you. You have to sort of make sure that it's meaningful and that there's a message around, and you can tie it to the history or the vision of the company that you're working for. Yeah.
Yes, thank you for sharing newsletters, webinars, and looking out for other campaigns. I will say that is very important, because there are some movies that came out, not Nigerian movies, and you can see the public relations they're currently doing is just beyond advertising. You see the messaging, you see the way it's just very organic, like it is, and they are gaining earned media and shared media, because people are like, wow, this is really nice, and people are really sharing. So I would say yes, looking at other people's campaign is very, very important too.
Very, very important. Yeah.
For our last question for you, what advice would you give to a PR professional who hopes to climb the PR ladder? So someone is saying, I want to be like Esther. I want to be the lead public relations manager for maybe a big tech company or the top 3 global companies in the world. What advice would you give to that person?
Wow. What advice will I give to that person? I think write the vision. I think that's what comes to mind. Write the vision, make it clear. I remember, funny enough, a couple of years ago, while I was pregnant with my first son, I was going through a hard time, and I remember just saying, Lord, just take me out of this. I need something. And I just imagined myself working for a tech company, and I also imagined myself working for an oil company. Just really those big companies that you don't even ever think that it would happen for you. And it was just a wish, and I think it was during my prayer time at the time when I was just home alone. I'm pregnant, and it was just a couple of months back that I said, oh, wow, I had prayed about this before, and look at what God did, So I think that, so first of all, it would be write the vision. There's nothing that God cannot do, and there's no desire that he cannot fulfill for you, as long as it's in line with his will. So write the vision, number one. Number two is, position yourself to work hard, because I watched a documentary or masterclass not too far ago, when someone said, position yourself to work hard for anything, commit to working hard, you can do so many things at the same time without realizing. Like, we have the capacity to do so much at the same time. I think we tend to just limit ourselves to, oh, this is too much work, or how am I supposed to juggle this and that, but you find that if you're really passionate and if you really want to be successful, you would try to bring as much as possible, and then see how much you can stabilize yourself in the process. Because when you start, it might be difficult, and then over time you will see the things that are working for you, the places that are working for you, the people that are working for you, the projects that are working for you, and then over time you can then cut down. So position yourself in a place where you're willing to just take in as much opportunities as possible, because once you do that, once your mind is open to just say, Lord, I need to do this and that, and then anything comes to you and you're just willing to help, willing to support, willing to be part of projects, don't say no to everything that comes. When I was younger, I used to say no to a lot of things. Somebody would think that I'm capable of doing something, and I'll say, nah, this is a lot of work, or no, I don't want to be part of this. And then you're just saying no to a lot of things. But you don't know that many times, if you would say yes to if you say yes to a lot more things, you never know when that big door will open. And so that would be my encouragement to anyone, to say, have a yes mindset, not a yes, not a I think people say you don't say yes sir or yes ma to people in to people in leadership, because you don't want to be seen as someone that doesn't have a mind of their own. But that's not what I'm referring to. I'm saying that, when opportunities come, take it with all your heart and then give it your best, right? Give it your best, regardless of the restrictions you may have. People will know that you're giving your best, one way or the other. At some point, someone will tell, even though there are challenges. You may be financial challenges that you're having. It may be that you're having issues with home, with your house, or with your family. It could be that you're having issues with your health. At some point, the issues may come through and, may be visible at some point. But when you give your best and you give your heart to a project or to something, people will be able to walk around that your issue and then still be able to find somewhere for you to keep, adding value. I don't know if you get what I mean. So I think first of all, so like, let me summarize. First of all, write the vision. Have the big idea. You want to do this. You know why you want to do it. Write the vision, pray about it, and then always open your mind to opportunities. Open yourself to opportunities, because you never know what saying a yes or saying how many yeses will get you to the door, the big opportunity that will eventually get you the break that you're looking for. And then work with all your heart, bring in your best, bring in all your skills that you've learned, choose to be part of a team, choose to be part of the company, or the person, or the thing, or the success behind the project that you're working on. Don't just do it offhandedly and think, oh, that's enough. Just give your best. I think it really helps, because when those challenges come, it's your best that will speak for you. When those issues come that you're not able to address by yourself, God just has a way of always making things work together for your good. So yeah, if you give your best, you won't lose in the end. Yeah.
All right, thank you. What's really fascinating for me is that you brought the scripture because I just when I read your profile about your
Yeah.
faith and
Mm-hmm.
and you brought it like everything is intertwined. And
Mm.
I strongly believe, yes, the Bible says, write the vision and make it plain. So we often say things I forget, but if you write it down and you're looking at it, some people will encourage you to have a vision board where you wake up every morning and you see what you've written down. So I strongly believe that when you have a vision, you write it down, and every time you see it, you're reminded that what do I need to do to achieve it? And having the yes mindset. Don't think that you're not capable of anything. Someone say, can you do this? You should be able to say yes, because even if you cannot do it, you should be able to find a way around it. Thank you so much, Esther, for your time. I don't know if you have any last words or anything you'd like to share with the community, if we would like to know before we end the interview.
No, I think just a very big thank you to the Nigerian women in public relations for this feature. I appreciate it. I'm hoping that this, wherever it is that you be sharing it will be useful to your community as much as possible. And I'm looking for more opportunities to work with you or partner with you for projects ahead, especially in the year 2025. It's a good way to start the year 2025. So I'm wishing you guys the very best in all the, I know you have conferences and events planned in the year. So all the best, all the very best, and well done.
All right, thank you. Yeah, for events, we have the Experience in Public Relations Conference coming up March 19th at the Civic Center. And there's currently a call for contribution for the EPL magazine. So every year during the conference, the Experience in Public Relations magazine is launched. So if you're interested, you can also submit your contribution for the articles. So the selected article is published on the magazine, so a lot of people get to see it. And the amazing thing about this year is that we are expanding and we are going to francophone countries and like 3 other countries, so more people get to know about experiencing public relations beyond Nigeria, and they also get to see professionals talk about the work that they do. This year's theme is PR for results, so conversations around PR bringing results so people can see professionals and all of that. And if you follow us on social media, we have a lot of volunteer speaking opportunities. So we have the PR Student Summit where we invite speakers to come in and share their expertise with students. We also have numerous programs where we invite people like professionals, women practicing public relations to come and share their expertise and their experience. So yeah, I can also, when I see when we have volunteers, I can also share with you. And we also have a close LinkedIn community. If you're not part, I can also share the link. And since you read a lot of newsletter, we have newsletter for registered members.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
a lot of exciting things you have planned ahead. No problem.
Yes,
I'm here.
Yes, we do. So for if you're interested in writing or contributing to the magazine, it's still open to end on the 31st of this month.
Okay.
So yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate
You're
you.
welcome. You're welcome. So we'll talk after. All right then. Take care.
All right. So enjoy the rest of your day.
No problem. And well done. Great interview.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Bye.